Reddit. What common thing screams I make poor financial choices? Hashtag Gnostics. My cousin who has declared bankruptcy multiple times always seems to have a new car. My ex declared bankruptcy, then upgraded from a tiny efficient car to a Dodge Challenger, which I refer to as the midlife crisis mobile, with its turbocharged engine to help you power away from your responsibilities. He bought it from a bad credit, no problem dealership. Expensive clothes, complaining about a lack of money. I let a friend stay with me years ago after she got herself into financial troubles and had nowhere to go. She comes home one day raving about the $100 yoga pants she just bought at Lululemon. I asked her if it was such a good idea to be spending that much money on yoga pants considering her situation and considering she didn't even do yoga. She literally went back again the very next day and bought another pair. Kicked her out after living with me for 8 months when I realized she was making no effort to improve her situation. I am a real estate agent and I work leads with my lender. We met this lady about 4 months ago who had bad credit and low income. We helped her identify what she needed to do to get better credit, and she said she may get more money soon. We follow up last week. She got a new higher paying job, but when he ran her credit, he saw she just purchased a $64,000 car. He told her things look better income-wise, but the car payments take up pretty much all of your debt-to-income ratio. She said, I just can't win. I gotta get to work somehow. With that kind of car, I bet she gets to work real fast. My lender said the only house she will get approved for now is a gingerbread house. Buying the latest everything. I have a co-worker who struggles to pay rent and such but buys a new iPhone every time they release a new model. Edit. Lots of justification posts minimalizing something that every financial advisor tells you not to do. The iPhone thing was an example. I have seen other things clear down to someone replacing a year-old set of rims because a new style came out. All while being on the edge of eviction. I work for a cell phone carrier, and like 80% of renewals are reasonable. I've had my phone for more than 3 to 4 years and it's time for another, and 10% are I use this phone every day for my job so I need the cutting edge / I'm rich as fuck. But there's that 10% that comes in with a flawless iPhone 11 Pro Max with 56/512 GB use that wants the iPhone 12 Pro Max 512 GB despite then having to pay over $400 on unnecessary fees, and I just can't fathom why. We used to have people come into the garage, tires are slick, brakes are metal to metal or almost, knocks and noises while the inside looks like a landfill site, but they'd get out the car and ask for an oil change or how to botch something up cheap because they were skint. They'd be wearing all designer gear, latest phone, covered in hair gel or makeup. Few of them even sent their dads down or they came with them, complaining we trying to rip them off. Straight up driving on hope, and if you turn up the stereo loud enough the noise goes away. Rolling car payments into your next car. I can't count how many people I know who traded in perfectly functioning cars they still owed money on because they needed something newer or outgrew their current car. I know someone who was paying $900 month for a Hyundai Tucson that was listed for like $25,000. It ended up getting repoed. It's called rolling negative equity, and it's a bad idea, indeed. I did this once. When I was several years younger, I bought a brand new 2014 Jetta Sportwagon TDI. 9 months later, I was at the VW dealership, and the new version, this time called the Golf Sportwagon, was out. I asked if they had one, and they did. And I bought it on the spot, a fully loaded TDI cell. Since it was so new, I paid MSRP, plus the taxes got rolled in. They gave me $21,000 for my Jetta Sportwagon that I owed $27,000 on, which meant that I financed in $6,000 of negative equity. And that is how, even with a decent interest rate, I ended up with a $715 car payment on a fucking Volkswagen. I made out lucky because VW bought back the Golf Sportwagen during the diesel scandal, and VW Financial cancelled the remainder of the loan balance, but I will never ever do that again. Relying on pawn shops every time you're low on cash. I knew a woman who regularly pawned some jewelry, then got it out on payday, only to pawn it again a few weeks later. Edit: I never expected so many likes and replies to this. Never expected this and similar behaviors to be so common. And mainly because poor folks have no other options. Thank you, everyone, for contributing. And thank you, kind stranger, for the silver. It's a vicious cycle. I got caught up in it for years in my early 20s. It all started because my roommate went to jail for 30 days. I was a cook living paycheck to paycheck, then suddenly needed to cover the other $400 of rent. I went and got a payday loan. Next month when I got paid I paid it off, but then was once again a few hundred short. I made poor spending choices all along the way, but every other month I was going from one payday loan place to get a loan just to pay off the other payday loan place. Back and forth for quite some time until I reeled in my spending and started making more money. I dated a guy who always impulsively spent his paycheck. If rent came a day or two after payday it got paid. If it came a day or two before payday it didn't. It didn't occur to him that he had to budget his check to meet expenses. His mom had always covered everything that he didn't pay, so he never had to think about what his check needed to cover. After a while his car didn't run and he couldn't fix it and he had to move out of his apartment because he didn't pay rent. Some people really live on automatic mode. People who eat out for every meal. I had a co-worker who did this, but then complained about never having any money. She'd eat out for breakfast and lunch and go down to the Walgreens for a midday snack. I was going to say similar. Someone I used to work with would spend around £10 on junk food and energy drinks on both breaks, and she'd apparently do the same on days off. 2 weeks after payday, monthly, she'd say she only had £20 or less to lay her until payday, and what did she do during her first break? Bought her junk food and energy drinks. I tried convincing her that buying multipacks of everything and keeping them in her locker or the fridge with her name on, but she thought that one-off larger payment would be more expensive overall for some stupid reason. I feel bad saying this, and I, in no way, am talking crap about anyone who lives in a mobile home. My husband's family is a family of 8. They lived in a 2-bedroom mobile home where they barely paid much in rent and had everyone squished 3 to a room, some sharing a twin bed. But each of the ones who could drive, which was like 4 of them, always had a car that was brand new and of the year. Not used or anything. Had to be brand new, no miles. They could have easily gotten a bigger place, but they never wanted to because they liked having nice cars and knew if they got a house or bigger mobile home they wouldn't be able to afford the new cars. I lived with my friends and their mom. They were very well off, but one day the washer died on me. The mom and her son lost their shit about having to pay for a new washer. Meanwhile, mom gets at minimum of 3 Amazon packages per day. Son works a $13/hour job that he hates and drives a 2018 Jeep Grand Cherokee with black rims. And buys every figurine/collectible that catches his eye. Edit: for context on the son's $13 a month, he pays some small amount of rent to his mom and that's it. His mom also still does his laundry and makes most of his work lunches. He's 27. He also has little to no tuition to pay for his degree. His mom also owns a 2018 Grand Cherokee, an older Wrangler, and a summer house/lake house. They live in a $500,000 house with an extremely large yard. Oh, and his mom is giving him and his wife this house with 95% of the mortgage paid off. Spending student loans on anything other than tuition and basic living expenses. Taking out all the loans offered, edit, taking out all the loans offered if it's more than you need. I had a college intern once. He already had some practical sedan. He automatically took the maximum amount of student loans the financial aid office offered, though he didn't need that much for tuition and living costs. He gets his excess loan disbursement the first week of the semester, and goes and uses it as a down payment on a convertible. Without even selling his old car. Why? I deserve to have something nice. He was sure he'd get a good job after he graduates because he'll have a college degree. Don't think he realizes he'll be paying interest on that car twice. Edit, in the US,